Hey everyone, this is Dr. John Tantillo, the Marketing Doctor, on our Saturday, August the 24th edition of BrandTalkk, another way to talk. And this is a place where we can express opinions without people gaslighting us, telling us how our opinions are draconian, are not really right. There's something wrong with us. All that kind of nonsense. Any opinion that people express is worth thinking about. And what I'd like to talk about today is RFK Jr.'s endorsement of Donald Trump. On June the 29th, 2024, on my 73rd birthday, I transferred my party affiliation to Republican, and I was a lifelong Democrat. It's just, as Ronald Reagan said, the party just moved away from me. I can't say it enough about how radical the Democrats have in fact become. And RFK's endorsement of Trump and his press conference just outlines how radical that they have come and how their search and maintenance of power has made them a party that's persona non grata for him, RFK Jr., and many of us. So when I saw that Mr. Kennedy decided to move away, it only reinforced my decision to move away. And I can't say enough about that. I've always had issues with Donald Trump. Always had issues with Donald Trump. Being a fellow who never filtered what he wanted to say. All right. I spent my whole life as a blue collar guy. By the way, I grew up about 7 miles, 8 miles from Donald Trump. I grew up in Ridgewood, Queens, which was about 7 miles from Jamaica Estates, where he grew up. So I was on the other side of the tracks. So all my life, I've tried to filter the way I say things and to be politically correct. And I think at the age of 73, I think I've been able to do that. Trump doesn't do that all the time, and that's what gets him in trouble. However, when one puts that aside and sees what he had accomplished the last time he was in office, one can only appreciate his brand. Trump is a businessman who came from great means and doesn't need to suffer fools. At least he thinks so. But in politics, you have to be able to suffer fools and do all the right things and say all the right things. Otherwise, you're going to get in trouble. The good thing about Mr. Kennedy's endorsement of Trump is it kind of is an imprimatur of the Trump brand. And what does that mean? He's giving his stamp of approval that he, like himself, he like Mr. Kennedy himself, has been discriminated against within the Democratic Party and been bullied out of being the nominee and not being on the ballot, as evidenced by his being thrown off the ballot and not being able to participate in debates, and Donald Trump by all of his legal problems that he brought on himself. To be fair about it, but that's what it means to be a businessman and not a politician. And the thing that comes up to me first when it comes to Trump is the way he handled the January 6th situation. Now, in the past, the Democrats did exactly the same thing in terms of marching and not accepting the results of the election. Into 2017, when they went ballistic that Hillary Clinton did not win. So don't give me this situation that with this talking point that Trump had no regard for the Constitution. It's been going on. The Democrats have done this since 2000 with the election of George W. Bush. So don't give me this. All right. The problem with Trump is that he shot his mouth off and didn't play it politically correct. And by doing that, he was what I would call set up. All right. What do I mean by that? Well, Nancy Pelosi didn't give him access to the National Guard, and the police on the job let these silly protesters in on the Capitol, which would position Trump as a maniac. Now, that is just not right. However, if he were a pure politician like Pence was or is, he would have known how to play it. And as a result of him not knowing how to play it, he got into trouble. So with Kennedy coming to the campaign side of Donald Trump, he's reminding former Democrats like myself that there's something to this idea that the Democratic Party today has been taken over by a different group of people. Okay, I'm not going to speculate on who they may be, but I think people know it's those that are not in power, now, but who have been in power years ago. All right, so you can connect the dots. With that said, the Democratic Party has gone what I would feel they're uncontrolled in their search for power. So what is their goal? Their goal is to have what I would say a one-party system like they have in California, where there's no Republican Party for all intents and purposes. That's really a big issue. I believe that you need two sides, all right? Otherwise, if it's one party system, it corrupts the system. So anyway, there you go. The other problem with the Democratic Party and their acolytes is that they don't want an open discussion on the topics. This is a true story. I had some posts on my Facebook page, and a very, very dear friend of mine, a wonderful man, and I won't mention the person's name, he gaslighted me by saying how embarrassed he was for me. That's what gaslighting is. It's to make you feel that what you have to say is there's something wrong with what you have to say. But what he basically said is he was embarrassed that I took on uh, the Kennedy endorsement and liking Trump. Now, and with that, he was snarky by mentioning how JFK still, even though he took a shot at the, or I should say, swipe at the Democrats, he still took their money. And I thought that that's not the issue. The issue is what he was saying about the Democratic Party as it is today. And it's no longer his father's or uncle's Democratic Party. And that's what we really basically have to focus on today. It is a radical party that will only be what I would say cleaned up after they've had a number of losses. So it's not only this election, and it's not only taking over the House, and it's not only taking over the Senate, but it's doing that for maybe the next 8 years. So that we get, so what politicians understand is winning elections. And the issue becomes that Democrats and leftist Democrats have won elections, and so they feel emboldened or enabled to do what the heck they want. And this is especially seen in New York City, where the city council has gone absolute ballistic. So what we basically need in New York City is a slate of reformers, of which I was part when I was active in Queens politics, of reformers of these leftists that really are not responding to the needs of the people, but are responding to their own, I hate to use the word, Marxist ideology. And if we know anything about Marxism, is even though it rears its ugly head every few generations, it always loses in the end. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible how the famous saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, I mean, basically, Marxism is a young person's enterprise because it just defies human nature. By by the mere fact of expecting everybody to be equal, it just doesn't happen that way. Okay? Some people are short, some people are tall, some people have big muscles, other people are more attractive, whatever it is. There, as a psychologist, this is referred to as individual differences. And you can't really deny that fact. And socialism, and especially Marxism, tries to overcome that fact. And it's great in theory, but a problem in practice. And that's why the borders are so many people want to get into this country, because of all the governments in the world. All right. There's nothing like the American system. I like to bring up the fact that my mother and father were blue collar people, and everybody talks about how the medical system really is not for the working class people. Well, let me tell you this. My dear mother, who died of cancer, had hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills that were all paid because of her husband, my father's medical plan, and her supplemental AARP plan, which meant that she paid nothing regarding all of these bills. So to say that the working man, which is all about what Marxism is about, doesn't protect the working man is sure poppycock. And that's what the left doesn't really want you to see. But in these next few minutes, what I just want to do is underscore, and I recommend what you do is look, if you can find it on YouTube, the Kennedy press conference where he outlines why he left the Democratic Party, which is a great way of understanding not only why I left the Democratic Party, but why a good many people have left the Democratic Party as it is today. And hopefully it will go back to where it once was before all this craziness took over. And let me just say this. I am, and I feel most people are, who disagree with the Democratic Party as we know it today, doesn't have a discriminatory gene in their body. All right. They don't want to hurt anyone. They really want to bring everybody together. But when people are, in fact, brought to front of the line and they don't really deserve it and can affect all of us, that's where the problems begin. So let's be a country, or let's come together and be in a country that wants there to be equality and not equity. So I'm hoping and praying that they see that their error in their ways, the Democrats, and come back to where all points of view are in fact accepted. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this volume of the Brand Talk, and we'll hope to see you next week. Thank you and bye.